This time on NTS Adventures.
I'm on the board. I'm on the board, my friends. Just set this dead stick up here and that bell started tinging. Literally. Just was going back in the tent and I heard tink, tink, tink. So my plan was to put a hole to the left of me here, but apparently Maggie doesn't want me to get out. So you got to listen to a dog's intuition and instinct. So I think I'll just hang out here for a little while. Maggie will keep me warm and I'll keep her warm while I look at the map. Life is good. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to another edition of NTS Adventures. My name is Colin. For the 200 or so people that follow my channel regularly, you already know who I am. But for those of you that are just joining us, welcome. So today, Maggie and I have decided to do a little bit of a scouting slash reconnoit, if you will, of a back lake here, or back bay rather, that runs off the Petawawa. It's called Black Bay. It actually is a bay that flows off of the Petawawa River and the Barron River. For those of you that do follow the channel will know that Annette and I came back here last fall. They made a run up the Barron River and partly up the Petawawa. That was a great video. Showcased just the majestic cliffs that surround the Barron River and parts of the Petawawa. Absolutely gorgeous. I decided I'm going to come out today and do some scouting for some walleye, because my son and I are looking for a place to do some walleye ice camping slash fishing this weekend. We were originally going to go to Lake Clear, and we still might, but I thought, you know what, I haven't been able to fish this back bay here for quite some time, just because the ice conditions haven't been good. Annette and I came out yesterday, did a little drive. It's only 20 minutes from my home, and we saw trucks, and we saw lots of big fish huts on the ice, so pretty confident we're going to be good to go. I'm going to slink myself up very close to the shore here, stay nice and tight, because I know it's between 2 and 6 feet all the way up here, and I'm going to take my time. I'm going to punch lots of holes, make sure I'm safe. I'm going to graph it and see if we can find some walleye. Stay tuned, everybody. I think it's going to be a good day. This lake isn't this lake isn't charted on the Navionics I have on this Lowrance. I haven't updated it in quite some time. But what I did is I took pictures of the charts, because it is charted on marine charts. If you go online, you can get almost any lake that is charted on it. And I took some pictures, so I know exactly what I'm looking for. I'm about halfway to where I want to go to punching my first hole. I'm looking anywhere between fishing and setting up my hut on about 8 feet of water, maybe a little deeper, with access to 20 or 25 feet for my dead sticks. This bay, the deepest part of this bay is back there. It goes down to about 50 feet. That's where those fish huts, I don't know if you guys saw them or not, but those fish huts are all surrounding that bowl there. They have done well there in the past. I don't know so much about recent years, but I know that back in the day, this was a hot spot. All the guys would go out after work and get to their huts and they would get a half a dozen walleye. I'm not sure that's the case anymore, but it might be. I just haven't received any updates. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to move up here. I'm going to punch a couple holes as we go. And once I find an 8-foot spot with access to 24 and maybe a bit of an inlet, I'm going to fish it. Just looking on the map here right now, just off to my left here actually would have been my first spot that I thought I would punch to. But I'm going to go up a little bit and start up there. So my plan was to put a hole to the left of me here, but apparently Maggie doesn't want me to get out. So you got to listen to a dog's intuition and instinct. So I think I'll just hang out here for a little while. Maggie will keep me warm and I'll keep her warm while I look at the map. If you take a look here, when you're moving along a lake, when it's got a fresh snowfall like this, you really got to take your time. Pressure ridges, and in this case here, there's a lot of people setting up ice rinks along the edge here, and really hard to tell, you know, whether you're coming up on one of those snow banks or, like I said, a pressure ridge or just an old ice fishing hole. So you guys got to take your time and go real slow, because there's really no depth perception. As you can see, when Maggie was wanting to get out, she was a little bit startled because she didn't know whether it was water or in the white abyss or whatever. Who knows what was going on in her mind. But anyway, she's having some fun here now, running around and getting her exercise. So I'm going to punch my first hole here. My friends, this is what I love to see. There's a lot of ice here. I'm gonna go get a scooper and measure it. I'm thinking maybe 1.5 feet, maybe even 2 feet here. Honestly, this is great. This back bay hasn't frozen up this well in a long time. As a matter of fact, I tried to fish it a couple of years ago, and man, oh man, there was so much water on the lake, or on the bay rather. I came all the way down here. I didn't get too far actually. I had to turn around. The machine was just covered in ice and slush, and just doesn't make for good navigating. And obviously there's a potential to get stuck, and if it got cold and you're stuck and you get frozen in there, you'll have to wait till spring to get that machine out. It's not a good situation at all. So I'm so happy to see this. This is good. This is promising. This used to be a walleye factory back in the day. Let's hope there's still some in here. So let's take a look what we got here. Shall we? Get this deucer down. Let's punch her down here. See what we got for water, folks. Sorry. I got that set up for jigging, as you can see. Sometimes I jig from my buggy when I'm out with the boys, or even with myself. But anyway, I got 10 feet there. I'm going to try and go out just a little further. This might be a good depth to actually set up on. But we'll see. I'm going to go punch a hole down there and see if I can get how far 24 is. Okay, yeah, so kind of as I was hoping for. We're at 16 feet here. I'll just go to the map, the chart, I guess they call it when we're on water. You can see again, this is where I am, and right across the bay there is that little sticker outer, that outlet, I guess. It almost looks like an island from here, but it's actually just a peninsula. And I'm sitting at 16 feet, and I'm thinking that bowl is just down basically the tip of my finger here, where that 30-foot bowl is I showed you close. But this is a decent depth too. I'm going to punch one more hole, and that way I can establish where the it starts to break 20, and then I'll have a really good idea of the land here where I am. Stand by. So I'm thinking somewhere in here is where this hut's going to be. If I got 16 feet here and I got 26 feet here, that's 10 feet difference. Yeah, 10 feet difference in depth, and probably less than 30 meters. 50, I guess that would be what, 60 feet for my American friends? And yes, they are my friends. So yeah, I'll punch 2 holes right here, and I'm hoping they're going to be sitting around 20. And then I got a 16 and probably 10 back there and 26 there. What do you think, Mags? We're going to set up here for the afternoon. You digging this? Got a nice little area for you to go chase bunnies and do whatever dogs do. Black Bay, off the Petawawa and Barron River, my friends. Alright, quasi set up here. I'm going to start setting up my rods. I'm going to set my dead stick up in here for now, and you'll see where I'm going with this in a minute. Essentially, I'm going to do some jigging with the rattle wrap. It's a technique where you're basically calling in a fish with sound. Essentially, fish have lateral lines and they respond to sound. At the risk of insulting anybody's intelligence, I know a lot of my viewers are anglers, but for those who are not anglers, I'll explain. Fish have lateral lines, and with those lateral lines, they feel vibration and sound. More accurately, they feel the vibration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a jig with a live minnow in my dead stick, and that's why I'm keeping it in here. That V-board's already drying this place out. I love it. Anyway, so I'm going to set up in here because I'm going to be calling with my rattle wrap on this hole with the live bait there. So the concept is, if they're finicky and they're only hitting on live bait, my rattle wrap will bring them in, and then 2 feet over they'll be like, oh, what's this? An actual bait. A nice, more enticing, if you will, because it's alive and it's fresh. So forget that thing that's making all that noise. Let's go over here. That's the theory anyway. We're going to see what happens. So this is my forecasted lineup for the afternoon. Got basically some jigging wraps. I got a blade spoon here. I got another rattle wrap, another blade spoon, and then just another jigging spoon here. We're going to give them all a go. We're going to go right down the line. spend about 15-20 minutes on each one and see what happens when they're not biting like this. And I'm having a hard time locating them. We just got to plant ourselves and let the lures do the work, hopefully. I mean, truthfully, none of this means anything if I don't catch a fish. It's just calling, blabbing hot air, looking at pretty colorful, just calling, blowing hot air, and looking at colorful little toys with hooks. But we'll see. Tell me what dog doesn't like cheese. I'd call you a liar. Well, maybe not. Let me know. Let me know if your dog doesn't like cheese. I'd be interested to know. I've never heard of a dog that doesn't like cheese. Right, girl? You like... Yeah, you like the cheese stringers. Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? Maggie's a good girl. Got lots of room today, girl. Take a drink of your water, girl. Come on now. So for the benefit of the non-anglers or non-ice fishermen that watch the channel, so this is my 2D fish finder here. It's a traditional 2D sonar. This is the original concept that basically sends the signal down, takes a picture, and then sends the information back up to the top. But like I've explained several times on the channel, it's historical data. But I want to bring your attention to the right-hand side there. I had this set up for A-scope or sidebar, which is really good for jigging. If you just see there on the right-hand side, as I move my rattle wrap up and down, it's getting picked up on the fish finder. I bring it all the way up, and now I'm letting it drop, and you can see to the left there, you can see my jigging pattern. So if a fish comes on there, even though it's historical meaning like a couple seconds ago was taking that picture, the theory is we're hoping that that fish is still in the area. So you can see my jigging pattern, so you can see just how precisely I can jig and zone in. Now, my dead stick is set up on my flasher, and the transducer for the flasher is set down in that hole. Now if you look, you can see the lure on this one going up and down. I don't know if you guys are picking it up or not. Maybe I'll move back a bit. It's the green line there. As I move it, it goes up and down like that. That's my jig, or my spoon with a minnow, essentially. Now if you notice, I have it set, when I let it rest, I put it in the rod holder, it's sitting at about anywhere between 13 and 14 feet. 16 feet to the bottom. Now the reason I do that, my dead stick, is these walleye and a lot of species actually feed from the bottom up. So there's no good, in my view, putting that dead stick all the way on the bottom. I mean, you can. A lot of guys will throw a big sucker minnow on the bottom. I mean, that's species specific, I would say. But in this case here, because I'm fishing walleye, they predominantly fish from the bottom up. I'm going to have it a little bit above bottom like I have here, so that if they're swimming along, they're going to see that. And again, with me rattling over here, calling them in, if they don't want to respond to the artificial bait, i.e. the rattle wrap, they're going to move over, swim over to that hole, which is 2 feet, and they're going to see that juicy live minnow, and they're going to hit it. That's the theory anyway, and we'll see how she goes. We're all set up, we're all dialed in here, we're going to have something to eat. Maggie's settling down for a nap. She's been running pretty hard all morning, and we'll see how she goes. Stay tuned. I'm on the board. I'm on the board, my friends. I just picked up my pack of chips here. GoPro had shut down. And I was just kind of relaxing, and boom, all of a sudden I noticed this fish sitting underneath my lure, and I was like, what? Half asleep. Tiny little guy, but guess what? I'm on the board for 2025 ice season. We're on the board, Maggie. We're on the board, girl. Yay! Yay! Go back to sleep now. That's exciting. That's exciting. Time to stretch the legs. Been in there for about 3.5 hours. One little walleye so far, but the sun is setting. See what's going on. For those of you that don't know or are interested, that's the end of Black Bay proper right there. If you go off into the left, just past those ice huts and take a left, that'll go up to the Barron River. And that basically parallels the park here all the way to the left. For those of you that watch the channel, you saw our boat ride in the summer. And if you go straight ahead there's two ways. To the left there, and then over there to the right are the two ways into the Petawawa River. And that goes all the way up there too into the park. And decent fishing up there. Problem is I can't really get my boat in past there. It's pretty shallow. But I'm going to try this spring. There's a decent muskie fishing back there, and we'll see how she goes. But anyway, we'll carry on. This guy's getting some wood. He's got a house or a cabin here somewhere, I take it. But it's the way we do her, man. Just set this dead stick up here, and that bell started tinging. Literally. Just was going back in the tent, and I heard tink, tink, tink. Maybe I should have had my head a little shallower. Come on, buddy. Come on back. No, okay. We'll keep our ears peeled, if you will. Beautiful out here. A couple people out there getting some exercise. A little bit of snow falling. Fever's pumping out the heat. Life is good. So I'm going to start packing up here shortly. Only one small pickerel, but it's certainly not discouraging. It wasn't the day I expected. I really thought I was going to do much better than I did, but that's okay. It certainly doesn't deter me from going out or coming back out this weekend to spend a night. I'm thinking that once I set my tent up a little closer to shore, maybe 8 or 10 feet of water with some big sucker minnows out deep, that might be better. There's a reason why there's 4 or 5 huts over my shoulder here down there, so I'm going to look into that a little more and study the marine chart when I get home. I was a little bit out here, but I'll really sink my teeth into it. So it's kind of on the edge of the current there is what I believe. So because like I said, the Barron River flows right through that part of Black Bay. So we'll see. But for now, I'm going to slowly start packing up, and Maggie and I start our fun drive back across the bay. Just had a big pull on here as I was packing up. I don't know if they're still there or not, but let's take a look. Shoot. Robbed. Okay. But that's okay. That is good intel. It's the witching hour, and that's when I need to be out here. So on the weekend, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be fishing here, a little closer to shore. All right, I don't know how well this camera's picking this up, but that's the end of the episode, everybody. Maggie and I are going to start the drive back before it gets pitch black. I'm pretty optimistic. I am. Hasn't deterred me from coming back at all. I think I'll be back on the weekend, unless there's a weather event that's going to prevent that, which there might be based on the forecast. But anyway, very happy. Lots of good ice out here. 20 minutes from my home. Marked one fish, caught one fish, lost another one just now. That's 5 hours. That shows activity, and I bet you if I was here right now, a little closer to shore, I might be doing much better. But we'll revisit that another time. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this scouting mission today. You know what I say, life is hard. Have some fun and support the truth. We'll see you next time on NTS Adventures. Calling out. Job done. Life is good.